The winner of this deadly game becomes a millionaire in just a few moments, but nothing is as simple as it looks. The story begins inside a building where huge amounts of money are being exchanged, and under a strange lantern, a man named Vince points a gun at the head of the man in front of him while that man also points a gun back at Vince. Just as Vince is about to shoot, he remembers how everything started. 4 days earlier, Vince, his mother, and his sisters decided to sell their house because they needed money for his father's treatment, who had been in the hospital for a long time after an accident. Vince worked as an electrician and used to visit his father every day before going to work. One day he went to Mr. Harrison's house, who had received a mysterious letter, not knowing that a policeman was secretly taking his picture. When Harrison showed the letter to his girlfriend, Vince confidently said that this letter would soon make him a millionaire. That same evening, Vince returned home and celebrated his sister's birthday, who wished for a baby goat as a gift. Meanwhile, in another part of the country, a man named Jasper met some dangerous people who gave him a loan of $2 million and demanded $3 million back within just 3 days. The next day, Vince returned to Harrison's house, where Harrison told his friend that this special task would make him rich in just 1 day, but after his friend left, he drank too much and died. Soon, the police arrived, questioned Vince briefly, and let him go, but before leaving, Vince secretly stole Harrison's letter, which contained a train ticket to New York and a slip to collect something from the post office. Vince went to the post office, showed his ID, and received a phone, $500, a key, and a letter marked with a spider symbol, which instructed him to go to New York, stay in a hotel using the money, and use only the new phone from now on. Meanwhile, Harrison's girlfriend reported the missing letter, and when the police checked the post office, they discovered that Vince had already taken the items, and this information reached Detective Mullane, who was investigating these strange letters. The next day, Vince boarded a train to New York without knowing that a police officer was following him, and after reaching the city, he stayed in a hotel and pretended to be Harrison when he received a call. The next day he went to a postnet store, opened a box with the key and found another letter, another train ticket, and a wooden piece with the number 13, along with instructions to get off one station early. The train conductor informed the police after seeing his ticket, but Vince got off earlier and unknowingly escaped them, then took a taxi out of the city. Soon, another car picked him up, and the driver showed him the number 13 before taking him away, while the police arrived too late to find him. The driver took Vince deep into the forest, where 2 men gave him clean clothes and searched his old ones, even damaging his shoes, before taking him to a secret place filled with rich people. There he met Joe, who had invited him, but Joe quickly realized he was not Harrison, and Vince explained that Harrison had died and he came in his place, leaving Joe with no choice but to let him join the game. Below, a huge gambling event was taking place where Jasper bet on number 6 and Joe bet on Vince, who was given number 13, but this was not just a game, it was a deadly game of life and death where each player was given a gun with a single bullet and had to point it at the person in front of them, and as soon as the spider lantern lit up, everyone had to shoot, and only those who survived would move forward. Vince was extremely scared, his hands were shaking and he couldn't even pull the trigger, but when the lantern lit up, several players died instantly, and since Vince hadn't fired, security forced him to shoot, and luckily the man in front of him survived. After the first round, Joe encouraged Vince to stay strong, and as many players had already died, the rich spectators began placing their bets on Vince, while at the same time, a player named Jefferson told his owner Jimmy that if he helped him escape, he would give him 50 times the money, leaving Jimmy confused about why someone with so much money would risk playing such a deadly game. Jefferson reveals that he had once been in prison and was even locked in a box and sent to a strange building, but Jimmy doesn't take his story seriously, while on the other side Jasper is betting on his own player, who is actually his brother Ronald. In truth, Ronald had been in a mental asylum, but Jasper brought him out only to use him in this deadly game. Soon, the second round begins where each gun now has 2 bullets, and this time half of the players are killed, but Vince survives with courage. At the same time, player number 11, Hans, starts losing his mental stability under the pressure of this terrifying game, because anyone could break in such a situation. Meanwhile, Jefferson tells Jimmy that he went to prison for robbing a truck, but before getting caught, he hid the money somewhere, and he offers Jimmy a deal that if he dies in the game, Jimmy can use the map in his pocket to find the money, keep half for himself and give the rest to his son, and finally Jimmy agrees. On the other side, Jasper notices that Ronald's mental condition is getting worse, and when he finds out that Ronald will stand behind number 13 Vince, Ronald loses control and throws an ashtray at Vince, but Jasper somehow manages to calm him down. Then the third round begins, and the mental pressure becomes even stronger. Hans is barely controlled with medicine, and player number 3 is forced to play while sitting on a chair. Ronald attacks Vince again, but others manage to save him with great difficulty. In this round, each player has 3 bullets, and as soon as the light turns on, everyone fires, leaving only 5 survivors: Vince, Jefferson, Ronald, number 3 and number 9. Now it is time for the final stage of the game, where 5 covered balls are placed on the table, 2 black and 3 white, and each player's owner must choose 1 ball, and those who get the black balls will have their players face each other while the other 3 survive. In the end, Jasper and Joe pick the black balls, which means Vince must face Ronald. Ronald is known as the strongest player, so almost everyone bets on him, but one man still believes in Vince. Meanwhile, Jimmy tells Jefferson that he can take his money and leave, but as Jefferson is changing clothes, Jimmy attacks him from behind. However, security arrives just in time and saves him because attacking a remaining player is not allowed. Jefferson then starts laughing, revealing that everything he told Jimmy was a lie. The map in his pocket was blank, but the truth is that he had memorized the real map, burned it, and walked away. Before the final round begins, Ronald becomes furious and demands a share of the reward from Jasper, revealing that his parents had given money for his care, but Jasper instead put him in a mental asylum and only brought him out whenever he needed him for the game, never giving him any reward. Finally, the last round begins, the same moment where the story started, as Vince and Ronald point their guns at each other, and when they fire, no bullet comes out and both survive. Another bullet is loaded, and this time Ronald is killed, which means Vince wins the deadly game. Joe starts celebrating with joy, while Jasper mourns his brother's death, but Vince feels the worst because he now carries the guilt of taking a life. As a reward, Vince receives $1.85 million, and everyone calls him lucky because Ronald had never lost before. Joe asks Vince to drop him at the train station, and Vince agrees, but when he goes upstairs to pack his things, he jumps out of a window and escapes. The driver sees him running, but Joe doesn't care much. By morning, Vince reaches the station, but the same taxi driver notices him and informs the police. However, Vince spots the police from a distance and quickly hides his bag full of money in a trash can before running away. Soon, the police catch him and question him, but Vince pretends he knows nothing and makes up a story to fool them, saying he never reached the game because they found out he wasn't Harrison and tried to kill him in the forest, but he somehow escaped. He claims he can recognize the criminal's face but cannot tell the location because he was blindfolded. Since the police have no evidence, they let him go. Vince returns to the station and is shocked to find his bag missing from the trash can, but then he notices all the trash bags nearby and starts searching through them until he finally finds it. Realizing it's not safe to carry the money, he goes straight to the post office and sends all the money to his family. Later, he calls his mother and tells her that the money will arrive the next day. After that, he visits a shop where he sees a baby goat toy and buys it for $100. Vince then boards the last train, but Jasper secretly follows him and pretends to meet him for the first time. As soon as the train reaches the station, Jasper suddenly shoots Vince and runs away with his bag, thinking it is full of money, but in reality, it only contains heavy toys. Meanwhile, Vince lies there taking his last breaths, thinking about his family, and just before he dies he finds the receipt from the post office, knowing he has fulfilled his responsibility, and with that he says goodbye to the world. Would you ever risk your life for money like this? If you like this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.